everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to share something so exciting with you. Juliet and I decided to kind of copy or be inspired by a ready-to-wear brand. We picked out a garment that we wanted to make and we made it our own. And so I haven't seen hers yet, so go over to her channel and see it and let me know how it's like. I think I'm gonna wait like a little bit because the anticipation is so exciting. And I'm gonna watch hers later and be super surprised. So go ahead and give her some love, and I hope she likes what I've made. So let's get started. Before we get into it completely, I have lots of amazing content coming up, so if you want to hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell to be notified when I have another video, that would be awesome, and let's get right into it. Okay, so this is the top I made. It is so beautiful. I'm completely in love. I've got ruffles here, I've got ruffles here, and while we're at it, let me show you why I decided to make this top and pop up a picture up here of my inspiration photo. So obviously I used fabric that is not exactly the same, but still beautiful. This is Atelier Brunette fabric. I will put the details of the color up above. And let me go ahead and tie this. I am so in love with this shirt, you guys. I mean, everybody that knows me knows I love ruffles, but this is like Ruffles Extreme. And I made this shirt using a pattern I already have that I have made twice already. No, have I made it twice or 3 times? I think I've made it twice. Well, now I've made it 3 times, but I made it twice before, and this is my 3rd round. It's the Reina shirt by Pauline Alice. It's got a base, the base shirt without any of my additions has little gathering in the back here with the yoke. It has a necktie. It's a little bit shorter of a necktie and not quite as full. I changed that and I'll let you know about that. The neckline is kind of like a V-neck, and then it has all these button loops here. And the cuff also has buttons and 4 button loops, and so that's normal. That is a normal part of the pattern. Okay, so let me go ahead and start telling you what I did. So obviously you can see I added 3 rows of ruffles here, and I added a kind of like a double layer of ruffles on the sleeves, all the way around the sleeves, and then I made the tie a bit thicker and fuller, and you'll see how. So what I did was I made the entire like front and back, and I hadn't like joined it at the side seams yet, and they were joined at the shoulder seams, and the yoke was all in and everything like that. And then so I just basically had a base shirt that wasn't attached to the side seams, didn't have sleeves yet, and I made these little ruffles, and I pretty much just top stitched them on. So let me show you the pattern piece for that. What I ended up using were 6 pieces of fabric, 20 inches wide and 4 inches tall. And I think that on the top you have a little bit less room to put your ruffle on the top than you do on the bottom. It kind of spreads out. So if I could go back, I would probably make them progressively wider so that they could have the same amount of ruffle. It still looks pretty good, but so what I did is I took these strips and I hem them on the top and bottom just by folding them down twice, like a very, very narrow hem on the top and bottom. And so I came up with the 4 inches tall by kind of accounting some room for the hem on the top and the bottom. And then after I did that, I went ahead and I sewed 2 rows of gathering stitches at the top, gathered my piece, laid it on top of my shirt on one side. Then I sewed the stitch for attaching the piece in between my gathering stitches. Now I know what you're thinking, where do you put it? So let me just tell you, this was major trial and error, and I was going to give you measurements, but I really think it depends on your size on where you end up putting your ruffles, and it depends on where your apex is, like where your breast is the fullest, and it really depends on where you want them to be and how you want them to look. So what you really need to do is what I did. I took one side and I committed to placing all 3 on my front piece. When I have my front piece here, and my back is attached already at the shoulder seams. No sleeves, no connection at the side seam. So I basically pinned them on and I kept changing them, moving them. When I put it on, it looks so much different than when it was laying flat. So you've got to just keep trying them on, put them on your mannequin if you use that. Keep trying it on and see if you like where they're sitting. Sometimes they curve accidentally and you don't really notice it until you put it on, okay? So putting it on is essential. So I basically placed it, like one time it was like up here, so I was like, no, okay, no, it needs to go down like an inch or 2. So I took it off and I repinned it. So it took quite a while to really get them where I wanted them to be. I do think that my most bottom ruffle could have been a little bit higher. I feel like I should have squished them all in just a little bit more because I do tuck in my shirts a lot, and this bottom ruffle is kind of getting stuck in that tucked in part, and I don't really love that. So if I could go back, I would make them all like kind of squish a little bit higher. But that's basically how I did it. And once it looked perfect on one side, I measured where the ruffle, you know, was in comparison to the very top. So I was like, okay, this one's like 2.5 inches down, which it's not, but it's just an example. And so, okay, it needs to be 2.5 inches on this side. Okay, how far apart are these on this side? Okay, they're like 3 inches apart. Okay, they need to be 3 inches apart on this side. So like I made sure it was symmetrical, and then I pinned it. And then I made sure both of them looked good together, making sure when I try it on that my yoke is where it's supposed to be and like it's sitting on my shoulder like where it's supposed to be. So I basically did that. Once I had that all perfect, then I stitched a line of stitching in between my gathering stitches, pulled my gathering stitches out. You will notice that I put where I stitched it was a little bit towards the top of the gather, and to me I liked that because it created kind of a little paper bag effect and then had like more on the bottom. I liked that. That was my preference. You don't have to do it that way. You can do whatever you want. If you stitch them all on and they look like and you hate it, or you just want 2, or you want them further apart, you can always pull it out and, you know, restitch it, or you can just pull it out and take it out completely and not do them at all. So that's how I did that. So I had already done the button loops and the button placket at this point. It was already done. So in order for this inside edge to look very clean, I decided to, let's say this is my ruffle, okay? So wherever it was going to end up being, I went ahead and I stitched it. This is right side to right side, okay? I stitched this one like this, okay? I don't know if you can see that. This is the right side of the garment. I stitched it like that. I folded it back back, and then I stitched it to the rest of the garment. Now, everything's pinned, so I just unpinned a few little, like a little section, and then I kind of flipped it over, stitched it right there, like on the inside. I kind of maneuver my machine, and then I put it back down, repinned it, and I stitched the rest of it. So that's kind of how I covered those seams. I basically buried, I double folded it and buried the raw edge into that part that's folded over, and then I folded it back. I hope that makes sense. Didn't worry about these edges because one of them is buried in a arm seam or armhole, and the other ones are buried in a side seam, so I didn't worry about those. So let's get to the sleeve now. I wanted a nice little drape kind of like over my sleeve here, so I cut a long ruffle that was 30 inches wide and 5 inches tall, not 2, 5 inches tall. And then I cut, you cut 2 of each, okay? 2 of the big ruffle and 2 of the small ruffle. And then I cut one that was also, again, 30 inches wide and 3.5 inches tall. So this is how it's going to end up being on my arm. Plus hem, plus seam allowance, plus all that stuff. So what I ended up doing is I put these together before I put them on the sleeve. So what I did is I cut them out separately. Then I hemmed the bottom of the short one. I hemmed the bottom of the long, of the very wide one. And then I basted them on top of each other like this. And then I used 2 rows of gathering stitches. Took my sleeve piece, this is the fabric that I'm talking about, took the piece of fabric that was my sleeve, and then I basically just took the ruffle that I made out of these pieces, because these pieces are longer than this measurement, and I measured it to begin with to figure out how long they needed to be, and just kind of made it like 1.5 times longer. So I did this all the way, attached the ruffle all the way, and I took a picture of what that looked like, so I'll pop that up. But yeah, and then I just attached the sleeve as normal. I will say that it doesn't really bother me to have the ruffles go all the way down and kind of connect on the bottom there. This is so hard to show you guys, sorry. But yeah, so the necktie is like this, that comes with the pattern. So all I did, I wanted it a little bit taller and a little bit more full. So all I did, literally, I used the same length, because this is cut on the fold, okay? This is the fold over here. But I just made it wider. Like the piece in the back is the piece that I cut. So you can see that it's just a little bit taller. And so it ended up being, let me see, I don't think it's twice as tall. I think, yeah, it's 1.5. It's 1.5 as wide. So I just added a little bit, and that one's not exact. Like, you can kind of do whatever you want for that one. So other than that, what else? There's really not much more to say about it. I had so much fun making it. It was quite a doozy, because this pattern is a doozy in and of itself anyway, because you just have so many button loops, so many tiny buttons to sew on. It can be quite crazy to do all of these buttons and button loops. On top of positioning all of these ruffles, but man, it was so worth it. I love it so much. It's gonna be perfect for fall. I also wore it at the beach, like just for photos. Obviously, it's a little bit too hot to be wearing in like 100-degree weather or 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So I didn't really wear it that much at the beach, but I think it can be summery if you know, wear, or it can be a transitional piece, like from the summer to the fall, depending on what you wear it with. So I wore it with a new skirt that I didn't really talk about, but I put some entredeaux, I think that's how you pronounce it, in between the layers. And I love that skirt. I'm going to talk more about it on Instagram later. But yeah, I really love how this turned out. I was very tired after this. I wanted to make something really simple right after it was done. But I'm so excited, and I love, love, love that ready-to-wear brand. And I cannot wait to just be inspired by more of their clothing. Every time I see them post something new, I want to make it like immediately. So it's very, very inspiring. I love not copying, but just being inspired by ready-to-wear. By the way, the ready-to-wear brand is Sister Jane, and on Instagram it's Dream Sister Jane. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please let me know. I hope that the measurements help. I hope that you guys go off and make one of these of your own. You can add this to like any button-down shirt or any top in general. You're just basically putting ruffles like on top of a garment that's already, you know, got a pattern, or it, you know, you can just basically add them to anything at any point in a garment, and you have the freedom to do that. All you need to do is use your imagination, get some measurements. You know, a lot of times when I was figuring things out, I would just cut it out of this paper and just kind of like lay it over my shoulder just to see if the measurements were good. So just experiment and have fun, and please let me know if you do, and tag me on Instagram or tell me down below in the comments. Let me know if there's anything you would have done differently, and if you go and look at the ready-to-wear brand, let me know if there's like another garment that you want me to try to copy, because I pretty much like everything on there. So I really like recreating it in my own way, and just kind of putting my own spin on it, because we all inspire each other, and I feel like ready-to-wear brands can be really, really inspiring. So but yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I hope you have a fabulous day, and go check out Juliet's video. I cannot wait to see what she made, and love you guys so much. Talk to you later. Bye.